Dave Scott Hub Media. I'm with second term MPP Bobbi and Brady for Haldeman Norfolk. Congratulations. And are you lost? Where are you?
I'm parked at Nell's Corners. I needed to start moving towards my next appointment, and I thought if I don't pull over, I won't get the podcast done, but I also won't get to my next destination on time. So we're good. We're good now. I'm pulled over, and
that's dedication to this podcast. I got to admit, thank you. I appreciate that. But
I try to be very productive.
I got to be honest with you today. I know you won the election. That's great. You got all those votes, but we're going to do a little test today to make sure you're ready to go back to Queen's Park. Now, you got to answer these questions. I'm going to give you one word, and you have to tell me the first thing that comes into your head, okay?
Okay, and I respond with one word?
One word.
That is tough.
I don't want to see you sitting there thinking, because I know what you're going to say to these questions. One word. So, are you ready?
Not really.
Okay. Do you feel like you can handle this? I guess that's my first.
So because I haven't had a lot of sleep.
There you go. All right. The first word is election.
Success.
Right answer. So we'll give you 4 stars for that one. You're doing pretty good. The second word is Doug.
Unsuccessful.
Well, that's pretty easy. You're not. I thought there would be another word.
There's a pattern here.
I thought there would be another word there, but I'll take that. The next one is community.
Love.
The next one is family.
Love again.
Wow. I should have made it so you can't say the same thing twice. And the last question, this is an easy one for you.
Your fault.
Because I know, I really didn't think this through, is sleep.
Oh, required.
So there you go. That's pretty good. I think you're okay to go back to the park. I think you're ready to go play with the big boys again and have some fun.
Listen, the way I woke up yesterday, so I wish I could give you all the names and numbers of the people I actually spoke to yesterday, because I woke up feisty as all get out. And I'm like, man, I wish I was back in the house today. I was just bang, 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 going through things and just on my game. You know, I've been in a bit of a fog the past few days doing media from all over the province and trying to get caught up on like the 3,000 private messages. So everyone out there listening, if you've sent me a private message and I haven't responded, I am so sorry. I'm trying to get through them, but I'm just kind of in this fog. But yesterday I woke up and I was like, okay, here we go.
When do you start back? What's the official date?
Don't know. So I swear in on the 17th. That's the soonest we can swear in. And then I guess we wait to hear after that.
What's your first question going to be in the house? Like I'm sure you've got one. I'm not going to
tell you.
Come on. Give me a hint. I won't tell anybody.
It's still the biggest issue in this area, right? Is what we're looking at the Nanticoke Industrial Park.
Okay. I get you. And I think that's important. Now, the main topic I want to spend a little bit of time on today, and I really want your thoughts on this because it's starting to affect us locally if it happens, and that's the tariffs. There's a possibility in Ontario of 100,000 jobs in the auto industry just disappearing. There's talk about the agriculture. There's talk about, transportation going across the border as far as the truckers and all that. Like I hate to say this, but this could be a real mess for everybody in Haldeman Norfolk as well as the province, right? Oh, I lost your volume there.
Yeah, for some reason we cut out.
There you go. So the tariffs, what is the effect do you think it's going to have? And what do you think we can do to combat it? As far as there could be a loss of jobs, a 25% increase on some stuff. I'm going to quickly, I did a couple podcasts with a couple small business owners who rely on metal. One was in the furnace industry and the other one's in the RV industry. A lot of their stuff comes out of the US and they're really worried.
Yeah, I think, these interprovincial relationships and kind of cross provincial business functions have to transpire. I was talking to someone yesterday in kind of economic development, and we're all kind of poking, in the dark here. We don't really know what the answer is. That the
Canadians, provincial governments can do to get out of people's way a little bit. I was talking to some farmers yesterday at the tobacco board meeting, the AGM, and one farmer put it really bluntly, and I can't.
Is that, look, you know what? Cut the carbon tax right now, and cut the HST, and cut all sorts of taxes, cut the red tape. Let us get out there, let us farm, let our businesses do business, and get out of our way. Over regulation, everyone is afraid of 25% tariffs, which they should be, but we should have been pushing back a long time ago on the red tape and the things that are getting in the way of our businesses and our farmers.
I agree 100%. One of the early things I thought about with the tariffs is just drop GST for 4 years.
Yep.
Get out of exactly that. Small businesses need to find a way to survive, and we need to help each other more than ever. We need to rely on each other.
That's
and
right.
This tax is it will, if you bring in the tariffs and we're already paying this extra, take that 15% away, give us an opportunity to try and thrive and get through this again. Like we're coming out of a pandemic. We just can't seem to get our legs under us.
Yeah. And I think the provinces are going to have to give municipalities the ability to also cut red tape and, the things that are holding up some of the critical projects in our communities, that are holding up small businesses that create that economic generation in our small communities. We need to get out of their way. So all levels of government, I think, could do our communities, our province, and our country a huge favor if we just get out of people's way and let them go out there and create economic productivity in their own communities. And we should have been doing that a long time ago. Now, I will say that, depending on who you talk to, I mean, there are people who are absolutely terrified. And then some farmers that I talked to yesterday were like, you know what? We're doing a wait and see here, and we're not panicked yet. We're confident that cooler heads will prevail. But if cooler heads don't prevail, we need a map. We need a map on how we're going to help our farmers. We're at the point right now in the farming community where seed and fertilizer, a lot of these things we can source here, but it's the end crop, right? Corn, soybeans, wheat, all of those things. What happens to those crops if tariffs are, remain a reality? So I think there needs to be a roadmap. How do farmers plan on, what size crop they should be planting if they don't know if they're going to be able to get rid of it?
And I think too, like on that note, I agree with you 100%. When you look back now, I think we have to step forward with an idea of being self-sufficient more so than ever. Like, even if they don't imply, if these tariffs sort of go away, I still think we need to be stepping up to the game as our own team to help ourselves, because this is going to come back again and again and again. Like we've already seen it 2 months in a row, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. We have to be more self-reliant. We can't take that relationship for granted. And I mean, I talked about this with respect to the pandemic. So, we had SARS and there were reports that were done. And guess what? Those reports were never, ever looked at. They were shelved, they collected dust, and we were caught flat-footed when, when the pandemic hit. Now, we didn't have to go through that. We could have learned from our past mistakes or things that we did well during SARS, and we didn't do that. And this situation reminds me of that. We can't just, if the tariffs all of a sudden disappear, we can't go, okay, well, business as usual. We can't do that. We have got to take this as, the shot's been fired, and now we have got to take measures to ensure that we are self-reliant and that, we only depend on ourselves.
There is a feeling of patriotism, I want to say, within the country right now. Like people are really rallying around each other as Canadians. And do you think that'll help the provinces work together much closer? Like, do you see that coming?
I hope so. And I mean, I've been a little bit frustrated that, there isn't this one voice from Canada who is kind of, taking the lead on this. I see, everybody kind of wading in. And I think that we need one strong leader who can, take the bull by the horns and say, you know what, I'm the one who's going to speak on this. I am the one who's going to negotiate this. I think all the provinces have to come to the table, but I think we need somebody, we need a strong leader who can say, you know what, this is what we're doing. And we are united. The provinces are united. And I think that's what we need right now.
I do. I agree with you on that. I did appreciate that Trudeau did call him out after the hockey game and say, "You can't have our country, you can't have our game." I thought that was sort of a statement
Yep.
that most of us could relate to, that have
I
played
like
the
that
game.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
And
appreciate that.
and I'm seeing things out of Justin Trudeau right now that, we would
We
have
didn't see.
welcomed. We
Yeah.
would have welcomed a long time ago. And so, I'm not going to discredit him during this time, but
No, me neither.
where has that been, right?
Right. Right.
This is the leadership that maybe could have prevented us from being in this situation in the first place.
I talked to someone the other day and they said, unkind words about him, said he was an arrogant, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yes, but at least now with this situation, this is when you be the arrogant SOB, right? Because you have to stand up to the bully. But at the same time too, I see what Doug Ford's trying to do with the hydro, and I see, yeah, you're right. You see a bunch of little things being done provincially, and maybe we need to be more uniform on what our federal response should be. But I think too, I mean, they're having conversations, and I don't think, what bugs me the most about it is they don't take into account the average everyday person and the effect it could have on them just buying groceries. You know what I mean? Like this could really have a negative effect. And I think, like you and I are talking about, different ways, tax solutions to help small businesses, to keep them going, and again, just take away some of the tax base. Let us do what we're good at.
Listen, I started a petition to reduce the small business tax rate. Stephanie Bowman brought forward a private members bill, very much similar to my petition, and it was voted down. Now is not the time to play partisan politics. Now is not the time to say, oh, hey, you know what? That's Bobbi Ann and Stephanie Bowman's idea. Let's not do it. No, let's do it. Who cares whose idea it is? Just get it done so that we can survive. And, I kind of giggled. I was listening to a piece on CNN. It was on CNN Live yesterday, I guess, and Doug Ford was on there. And he said, I speak to so many Democrats and I speak to so many Republicans who, don't like what Donald Trump is doing. But my goodness, they're too afraid to step forward and tell the truth. And I thought to myself, oh, buddy, this is the same guy whose caucus members are too afraid to step up and tell the truth and say, hey, I don't want to come door knocking in Haldeman, Norfolk. So, I hope he's learning some lessons along the way here, because we can't proceed like this. We can't continually proceed with people afraid to speak up for their communities. And we all have to have this unified voice and come to the table and be loyal to the people that we serve, not anyone else.
See, when I saw him in that, with Doug Ford in that, my first thought was, it's not nice to be bullied, is it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. When he made that comment about Republicans and Democrats being too afraid to speak up to their leader, I thought, wow, this is rich.
Yeah. And I mean, that's so true. It's interesting too, with all this going on and what we talked about. I would think in what you just said, in the House, in Queen's Park, that there would be more, because we're all trying to work together with this problem. I'm hoping, like you said, there's more of an open mind to accept ideas that maybe will benefit everyone.
Yeah, I'm also concerned, though, Dave. I'm also concerned. I mean, this is a government that has used the carbon tax as a distraction for the past year and a bit, and it's a federal issue. And if it's a federal issue, then we should either do something about it provincially or we should stop talking about it. And I am afraid that there are going to be issues important to Ontarians that are going to fall by the wayside because this government is going to continually use tariffs and I don't mean as a distraction, because it is an important issue. But at the end of the day, if we don't as a province start taking some action steps, then it's all talk and it's a distraction. So if we're going to talk about tariffs in the Ontario legislature every single day, while things like healthcare and policing and education are falling by the wayside, then my goodness, we better start reducing the small business tax rate. We better start getting out of the way of farmers.
Well, the bottom line too, with all those that you just said, is poverty. That's it. I mean, if you take away that 15%, if the carbon tax goes away and you take away that 15%, suddenly there's money to put back into the local economy.
100%. Yeah,
and that's what you need
helps
in order
everyone.
Exactly. And
helps
then
everyone.
It raises that standard of life just a little bit more that we need right now, or keeps us at the same level, because too many people now are falling down between the cracks. And
Hey, listen, I saw it, door knocking. One of the biggest things that I've noticed in my career is, when I door knocked for Toby early on, when I started in 99, you saw a difference in properties. So
well,
people
yeah.
had the means to look after their properties a little more. And one of the things that I see door knocking today is that, people are struggling. And their properties are telling that tale. They don't have the money to invest in that biggest investment that they've made in their life. They don't have anything at the end of the week to put into fixing the fence or painting the front door or whatever. And, you can see that. And it really makes me sad, to be honest.
Well, and like you said, we talked about this a long time ago, is when you have to choose between heat and food.
Mm-hmm.
And the lawn, you're not going to be able to side the house. You're not going to be able to,
Nope.
That's the other aspect of this, is that you got to get the basic needs covered first.
That's right.
And that's where I think look at this. We're in mid-season form already. We just skimmed right over the election, got to the heart of the problems,
Yep.
and that's the way it goes. I mean, and I'm going to give you I'll give you like 10 seconds on the election. It must have been fun.
Yeah, it's still kind of all settling in. I got a really nice email today that a professor, I think in the North Thunder Bay or somewhere, declared Bobbi and Brady the most successful independent candidate in Canadian history. I'll take it. I don't care who that professor is. I'll take that. And we did have the highest vote spread the number one highest vote spread in the province. And I think maybe the top voter turnout in the province.
Yeah,
and wow, that really says something about the people of Haldimand, Norfolk. If that doesn't send a clear message that you can't mess with us here, nothing does. So I'm super proud of the people of Haldimand, Norfolk for not only going to the ballot box once and doing something bold and courageous, but going again a second time. And to those people in the party who said, you know what, it was a fluke the first time, well, I don't think there's anything appropriate that I can say back to them right now other than look at the scoreboard.
And you're going to probably be approached a lot more on people that want to run as an independent. Like, I think you've sort of set yourself up to be that mentor now, right? Like,
yeah,
maybe it's the independent party. Maybe that's what we're looking at here. I don't know.
Yeah, apparently there's a whole folder waiting for me on that of people right across Canada who want to speak to me. And I had a bit of that in 2022.
Right. But it's a resounding win this time. Like, it's
right. Like, it wasn't a fluke. Like they
it was not 2,000 votes. This was not 2,000. And I think that's the other part that people are kind of like, it's a really good wake-up call for the country when a small community like Haldimand, Norfolk can go, hey, wait a minute. We don't want to play your game.
And we fought the machine. I mean, come on, we had this discussion of what they all brought at me. They threw everything at me. I understand that they went through a lot of money. This is what I was just going to
say. Yeah.
They went through a lot of money to try and destroy me here in Haldimand, Norfolk. And the people said, no, we're not having it. In fact, the more money they spent, the more cabinet ministers they marched in here, the dirtier the messaging got, the more it galvanized our people.
Well, I think that's it too. I think it was you won the election, but it was the people that won the election.
Absolutely.
So I think that sort of it set the tone for where some other communities may want to go down the road, and sort of open the idea that I think, and it drove me nuts for years, is why the party controlled what you did when you're representing me. Like, that bothered me so much. It's like, well, this makes no sense. Why would I even care why would I even vote for you? You're just following whatever you're told to do. And I want somebody that says, no, wait, these are the people in my community. They're important.
And yet look at the communities who reward that. Look at the rest of Ontario. And I mean, this guy did not get, like, this guy from Toronto, Doug Ford, said he needed a clear mandate. He already had that clear mandate. And what did he gain? 1 seat. Like, so that's a clearer mandate to deal with tariffs? Give me a break.
I think it was that 180 million it was going to cost that just, made enough people feel. I didn't look up the numbers as far as if the voter count was up across the province and what people were thinking, but I'm pretty sure if we had time, I think we'll know in 4 years. If he doesn't get it right this time, I don't.
Well, and all I laid awake thinking about last night, because as I tell you guys, I don't sleep. But the $189 million for this election could have gone a long way in helping our businesses, helping our farmers right now in a time of need. And here we pressed pause. We spent $189 million for pretty much the same outcome. one seat does not give this guy a more clear mandate. And so I just laid awake thinking last night, wow, we could have really used that $189 million somewhere else right now.
And you did the other point that you talked about, I think it was about a year and a half ago, we had this discussion. You educated me on it, and it was about all along the St. Lawrence, all the agricultural land that was being destroyed. Boy, now more than ever do we need that, eh? Like along the Great Lakes. And now if there's possibility of all these big tariffs, we need to be self-sufficient, and we need to protect our we have one of the best in the world. Why are we protecting it more now, right?
I've had a handful of farmers who worked against me in this campaign because they say, well, my land's the most productive it can be. And, I want to do this, and this. Okay. I understand that to a certain degree. I don't understand paving over entire farms and creating subdivisions, but I do understand succession planning. I understand retirement lots, but we can't make decisions today for, looking at tomorrow. We have to look down the road. Did anyone ever think there was at a time going to be no toilet paper on the shelves during a pandemic? So I use that as the analogy. Yeah, there was enough toilet paper until there wasn't. Yeah. And there's enough land until there isn't. Yeah. And you can't unpave that, Dave.
Well, and it's pretty hard to grow corn and rock. You know what I mean?
Right.
On rock. So, I mean, that's... And I think that was one of the things when I was watching some of the shows recently on the U.S. channels about how strong the Canadian agriculture was. And I'm like, I hope it stays that way, but we need to protect it as much as we can. What was the victory meal? Just curious.
Oh, that's a good question, because I didn't get too much of it because I was so busy talking, but there were some really good wraps. We had food from all over, kind of Simcoe, and wraps and cookies. Oh my gosh, there were these fantastic chocolate chip cookies. I think they were from Joy's. And I woke up, when I went to bed on election night, like I fell into the deepest sleep that I had had in so long because the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. I always worry about disappointing people, right? So I didn't want to disappoint anyone. So that weight was heavy. And I woke up.
Was the chocolate cookie stain all over your face? Is that where we're going?
I woke up at 3:30 in the morning going, I hope the heck when I get to that campaign office in the morning, there's still a chocolate chip cookie left. They were so good. But one of the things that felt so different in this election than any, and I've run elections right across this, or been involved in elections right across this province. One of the things that felt so different was, in 2022 and in other elections, people will say to you when you go to the door or you meet them on the street, whatever, they'll say, well, good luck to you. They're very polite. It's very seldom that people are not polite. I think they, recognize they should respect anyone who throws their hat in the political ring. But one of the things that was different is when I went to a door and I met people, I would say 95, 96% of the time, people would point at me and go, already voted for you, or wow, I'm going to vote for you on Wednesday, or I'm going to vote for you on election day. They were so proud in this riding to tell me how they were voting. That is something that I've never seen before. And so in my head, I was like, wow, either a lot of people are not telling me the truth or we're doing really, really good. And of course we saw the fake polls. 1 week in one poll, I was winning 80-20. The next week I was down, a few points, and it never changed. And, I was watching the real polls. I knew how to access those real polls. And in fact, there were some people with 25 years connections that I have, and some people that I've worked very tightly with over the years who were sending me the real polls. Thank you very much. And so those people who say that I don't have friends at Queen's Park, they are liars. So I was seeing the real polls, but quite honestly, there's only one poll that matters, and that's election day. And I did not want my team to think that we were well ahead, because when you convey that, people they become complacent. And I certainly didn't want anyone to become complacent. So I just sat on what I knew and said, yeah, we're down in the polls. We'll let the former mayor who's sending out emails saying that, his candidate's winning. We'll let everyone believe that, because that's good for us.
And this will be my last question, because I know you got to get to the next meeting. But I want to
talk all day now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, not really, but I'm feisty now.
But this is my next question because of the feistiness. Because what I want to know is, The election's over. Bygones be bygones. Are
Yeah.
you willing to work with both mayors again?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've always worked well with Mayor Shelley-Ann Bentley. I mean, I love going into Haldeman County to events and knowing that I'm going to sit beside her, and we're not only going to have a good time, but we're going to get business done. And I've never had a problem with Norfolk County's mayor. In fact, when I sat beside her prior to her deciding she wanted to go after my job, I kind of looked at her as the person that I wanted to help out. And I had 25 years experience. And look, like, we're not always going to agree, but my goodness, we can share ideas, we can chat, we can be friendly. And I hope we can get back to that, because it's very difficult to go to an event, and it was very difficult over the past year. It was very, very difficult when I knew that I was going to an event in Norfolk County, and knowing that I was going to be ignored and made to look insignificant by the mayor. And that really bothered me. I take that personally, and that's not how we get the best results for our community.
And on that note too, I would think now, because I remember you and I having conversations about this, they would uninvite you to things, literally uninvite you to, and you're the MPP. Do you think that will change? And do you think Doug Ford's attitude towards you will change?
Yeah, so I didn't really get the sense that it was Doug Ford doing this to me, unless somebody was guiding the mayor's office. But usually when I was uninvited to things, it was done through the mayor's office, not through the PC.
Oh, okay.
So I hope that changes. And even when we disagree, even when we can't see eye to eye on certain issues, we still have to come to the table. I mean, I'm very honest with respect to the $450 million, water project. Yeah. $450 million is a lot of money. The Minister of Infrastructure has told me that, Bobbi Ann. I know, the mayor wants this money, but it's a lot of money, even in a 3-phase project. And so, when I ask the mayor and the CAO what plan B is, I'm not asking that to be disrespectful, Dave. I'm asking that because you can't put all your eggs in one basket. When $450 million when you're being told no, you have to have a plan B. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not trying to be combative. I'm trying to get the best result. I need to go to the minister and say, okay, you know what? Maybe we can't do this, but can we do this? And will you help us out?
Yeah. Let's make it a community project as well,
right.
Or something where you can have different investors in it, as far as at different levels of government, so that it can get done. It needs to be done. It has to be done. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be a solution that's found for that.
Yeah, and the other one is gas wells. The situation on Forestry Farm Road in Silver Hill. Like, we have got to get to the bottom of that. We can't just celebrate little chunks of money coming in to Norfolk County that is doing absolutely nothing, because Norfolk County doesn't have the expertise to deal with the problem. So I call on the mayor to join me and say to the Minister of Natural Resources, look, we need somebody to come in here and take this over, because we don't have the expertise to deal with it. You can't just celebrate little bits of money that are being thrown at a problem and getting no results.
I agree 100%. And we're going back to all the stuff that we've talked about in the last 2 years, right? And it's amazing that those problems are still there and nothing got resolved. So now it's time to sort of keep, and you brought this up in your election, you get to speak every 7 days, I think, in the House?
It'll be different now, because now, it'll be different again, because now the Liberals have official party we'll have to figure out how that works. Just as we got accustomed to, and used to how things work, up until election time, now everything's going to change again.
All right. I understand. Yeah. Well, and when we do our next podcast, you'll be able to
I'll be able to tell you.
All right. You get to ask me one word, and I'll answer what I think.
Ooh, weekend.
Oh. Okay. That's not fair.
See? I asked the hard question.
Oh, the weekend. Wife.
Aw, that's nice.
Yep.
Aw, tell her I said hello.
I definitely will. And I know you, again, you're in your car. She's lost, folks. If anybody sees her, maybe help her along. I think, where are you off to?
I'm off to the Long Point Region Conservation Authority now.
All right. Well, and tell your mom this was a fun podcast, okay?
Yeah, I will.
Take care.
Thanks, Dave.